Hi, welcome back to the At Home Retreat.
欢迎回到居家进修营。
Sometimes I call it online retreat, sometimes I call it at home retreat. At home retreat sounds more friendly, right?
有时候呢，我把它称之为线上进修营，有时候把它称之为居家进修营，好像居家进修营会感觉更加的亲切一点。
And the picture we have here is somebody shooting an arrow.
我们这里有的一张图片就是某一个正在射箭的人。
And the name of today's class is called Arrows and Factories.
那今天这堂课的名字叫做箭与工厂。
And I want to teach you an important Tibetan word before we start.
那在开始之前，我想要教给大家一个重要的藏文词，
Called penjekile.
叫做 penjekile。penjekile。
Pen means to shoot an arrow or to throw a spear.
pen 的意思就是去射一个箭，或者是扔一支枪。
And oftentimes in books about karma, you hear about a thing, Stanley knows about it, called penjekile.
通常在一些关于业力的描述当中，你会听到这么一个词，叫做 penjekile， 但是也知道这个词。
And this is the karma that you do now, which is going to throw your next life. It's going to decide what is your next life.
然后这个词呢，有时候中文翻译成引业，意思就是你做的那些业力会把你就是投射到引致到下一世去当中的业力。
So like if you're a very good person in this life,
譬如说，如果你今生是一个非常善良的人，
you will make karma which will shoot you into the future life as a human again.
你会造一些业力，会把你设置到下一世，让你能够又一次的受生为人。
And then usually they say there's two karmas called penjekile, which is the throwing karma.
通常会把业力分两种，一种叫 penjekile， 就是引业，
And then there's dzogchekile, which means finishing karma.
还有就是 jokchekile， 就是满业。
And they always compare it in the ancient books to a master painter and his student painters.
那在古老的经典当中，总是把这两种业，引业就是投射业，跟满业就是圆满业，来比作是一位画家大师跟这位大师的一个徒弟。
So the master painter will take, in the old days, they will take a piece of charcoal and they will sketch like if you're painting a person, they will sketch all the person.
那在古时候呢，就是这一位大画家呢，在作画前，他会先拿一块炭，然后呢，假设你在画一个人像的画，这位大画家会用这块炭先把这个人像的轮廓给描绘出来。
So that's like throwing karma, like it decided you will be a human being.
这就像是投射业或者叫引业一样，就是他决定了你会下一世受生为人。
But what's the details of your new life?
但是你新生的种种细节如何？
Will you be rich? Will you be poor?
你将会富有还是贫穷？
Will you be tall? Will you be short?
是高大还是比较矮小？
Will you be a woman? Will you be a man?
会是男士还是女士？
And in the metaphor, the student painters, the master says, paint this part blue, paint this part yellow, paint this part green.
在那个画家的比喻当中呢，那这个大画家就会对他的学徒说，把这块画成蓝色，这块黄色等等种种的细节。
And in Tibetan, that's called dzogche.
所以藏文叫做 jokche。
So that's the karma which fills in the details of your life, which is thrown by the throwing karma.
那这个满业的意思就是说，在你的引业把你引至下一世新生的时候，这个满业就会创造出种种的细节，填满种种的你这一生的细节。
Now, the reason I mentioned those two is that I think I've discussed them before in the Lamrim, in this Lamrim series.
在这一系列的这个道次第的教授当中，我想我记得我之前已经有讲过这两个概念，有描述过。
But so far, this series took 10 years, okay?
但到目前为止，这个系列已经持续了10年。
And to be honest, I don't remember what I taught you and what I didn't teach you.
那坦诚来讲呢，我已经忘记我到底教了你们什么，没有教什么了。
But what I want to say today is, this is not the throwing karma that I taught you before.
但我今天想要讲的是，我们接下来要讲的内容，并不是我之前教过大家的这个引业，或者叫投射业。
Before, the throwing karma and the details karma were called penjekile and dzogchekile.
那之前我们教过的这个投射业跟细节的业力，就叫做 penjekile 跟 zochekile。
Yeah, and now we have a slightly different word, which is penjekile and dupchekile.
那现在我们会迎接来两个有一点点不同的词，一个是 penjekile，一个是 zochekile。
The first kind of karma is the same. You can think of a spear or an arrow.
第一类的这个业力呢，是跟我们之前一样的，就是你可以想象是扔一个飞镖，或者是扔一支枪。
But the dupchekile, I don't want you to think of student painters.
那另外一个业力，今天的 zochekile，我就不想大家把它认为是那个画家的徒弟。
I want you to think of a factory.
我想要大家把它想象为一座工厂。
They do a lot of things, and then a car comes out of the factory.
他们会做很多的事情，然后呢，那个生产一辆车就会从这个工厂生产出来。
Okay, let's read the text, and then you'll be more comfortable.
那接下来我们一起来读一读这个原文，大家就会因此更能够理解。
So you really have to get familiar with these 12 links of the dependence.
那你真的是很需要，就是对非常熟悉这个12支缘起。
Ngusung means you should be able, if I say, what's link number 3, what's link number 5, you should be able to say immediately what they are.
Ngusung 的意思就是说，如果我问你第3支是什么，第5支是什么，你应该能够立刻的回答出来。
My teacher made us memorize it over and over.
我的老师让我们一遍又一遍的去背。
Tambo maripa,
Tampo Maripa,
yipa duchigile, sumba namshi, shipa mingsu, chupa repa. Sorry, ngapa keche, chupa repa, dumba tsoa, gepa sepa, gupa lamba, chupa sipa, chuchipa kewa, chuniba gashi. You know, we had to say it over and over
所以我们
again.
必须得像刚刚那样一遍又一遍的来念来
Then
背
he will
诵。
say, what's that one? What's that one?
他就会问我们那是什么，那是什么。
So I hope you guys will do that.
我希望你们也能够这么做。
Now, after you know all the 12 links, like individual friends,
当你知道就是这个12支每一支的这个是内容是什么了，
or individual enemies, actually.
或者是每一支的这个朋友或者敌人是什么，
Yenlak shir duluk shega, you should be familiar with how these are grouped into groups.
那你就应该要去熟悉的了解，就是这12支如何分成不同组的，
And there are 4 groups.
总共可分为4组。
Now, if you're studying the Tibetan and you're following the Tibetan,
那如果你有在学习藏文，在跟着我们的藏文原文来看的话，
I want to say, unfortunately,
我想要说啊，很不幸的是，
the word in Tibetan, Yenlak, and the word in Sanskrit, Anga,
就是藏文词 yana 或者是梵文词 nam
Anga,
anga，
they are the same word for the links and the same word for the groups.
就是他们讲支还有讲多少组这2个词，其实在藏文和梵文当中都是一样的，都叫支。
So I'm going to use different words
所以我在讲的时候会用不同
so
的
you
词，
don't get
这
confused.
样你就不会听混。
So there are 4 groups of links.
那这个12支啊，可以分为4组。
First one is called Penjeki Yenlak.
第一个叫做 Penjeki Yanlak，
That's the shooting group.
那就是影射组。
Second is Drupjeki Yenlak.
第二个是 Jucheki Yanlak，
That's the factory group.
那就是工厂组。
Pangbe Jebe Yenlak means what was shot. Like you can say the arrow.
就是接下来这个词的意思就是被射出去的是什么？我们可以说是那一支箭。
So group 1 is kind of like the archer.
第一组就有点像那个射箭者，
And group 3 is kind of like the arrow.
然后第3组就是那个被射出的箭，
Group 2 is like the factory.
第2组呢就像工厂，一座工厂。
Group 4, Ngumba Dupe Debe Yenlak De, is kind of like what the factory puts out.
那第4组就是有点像是工厂所生产出来的东西。
So there we have 4 groups.
那我们就有以上这4组：
Arrow shooter,
射箭者、
car producing factory,
汽车工厂，
the arrow which you shoot,
你所射出的箭，
and the car which comes out of the factory.
以及是工厂生产出来的汽车。
Okay, Dea Maripa ni saben depa po tabudang, de kune lame ducheki leni saben tabudang. Now, if we're going to talk about it in terms of gardening,
如果我们要按照就是种植花园的这个方式比喻来讲的话，
then the first thing,
那第一支
misunderstanding,
误解之
is like the gardener who puts the seed in the ground.
就好像是那个把种子种到地底下的园丁，
And the actions you take because you have misunderstanding,
那你因为有了误解而采取的行动
karma,
就是业力，
those are like the seed that's planted by the gardener.
那些就像是被园丁所种下的种子本身。
Okay. Now, the earth where you put the seed
那个你所种种子的土壤
is the first half of link number 3, which is awareness.
那就是第三支的前一半，也就是你的识，你的觉知。
So when you say to your husband, "I'm not stupid, you're stupid," which is link number
2
2.
那当你对你的老公说“我才不笨，你笨”，那便是第二支嘛，
Because you thought to yourself, "I didn't do anything,"
因为你对你自己想说“我什么都没有做
which is link ”，
那
number
是第一支。
1.
第一支，
I'm not offering him money
今
today.
天不要讲他
I
钱了，
lost all my money yesterday.
昨天的钱都输光了。
Then what's link number 3
那第三支是什么？
is the mind of the wife in the kitchen at the time that she says, "I'm not stupid, you're stupid," and she hears her own words, and those words are imprinted on her mind.
第三支就是当老婆在厨房里面对老公说“我不笨，你才笨”，那个时候她的意识状态，因为当她说出这些话的时候，这些话会回到自己的意识状态当中，会种下这个种子。
We call that link number 3,
我们把那个称之为第三支，
your mind,
称为你的识，
at the moment of planting.
而是在我们之前叫因为识，就是你在播种时刻的识。
Now, the second half of link number 3 is going to be
然后呢，第三支的另外一半将会是
the mind after the seed, as the seed opens and goes into the mom's womb.
就是当你那颗种子打开，然后当你进入到母胎时的那个时候的心识。
So let's consider these links. Number 1, which is misunderstanding your husband.
那我们来考虑一下，看看以下这几支。第一支是误解你的老公，
And then link number 2, which is doing some karma.
第二支就是你造一些业，
And then we can throw in the first half of consciousness.
然后我们会能够把第三支就是识的前一半放进去。
Those 2.5 links.
这两个半支，
Okay, the chedan sum in Tibetan, it means if you added another half, you would get 3. You see? So that's the Tibetan way to say 2.5.
就是 che dan zhong， 意思就是说，相当于我们中文的两个半呢。
These are the archer.
这就是射箭者，
Okay, these 2.5 links are the one who shoots the arrow.
这两个半支就是射出弓箭的那个人。
And I put an image here of I drew I think it's a blue cloud around the shooting links.
然后呢，我给大家准备的这张图片应该是我画的一片蓝色的云，然后在那个投射的两个半支上面画了一团蓝色的云。
Now we'll go back to the text.
那现在我们再回到原文当中。
Sabin la che le che sheki kyangba. Now you take that seed, sabin,
现在你把这颗种子就是 sabun，
and you put on it chu, which is water,
然后你放上 chu 就是水
and lu, which is fertilizer.
，lu 就是养料，
And then tre she means you make it kind of wet and warm.
然后确切的意思就是能够给它适当的温度跟湿度。
Kyangba is an ancient word that means what a mom does to their kid when they feed them and they take care of them. So Kyangba means these extra things, water, fertilizer, sunlight, they are supporting the seed. They are feeding the seed.
Gamba 的意思就是培育，就是母亲养育这个孩子所做的种种的事情。譬如说，在种子的例子当中，就是给种子浇水啊，给它肥料啊，给它阳光等等。
So which of the links are like the water and the fertilizer and the sunlight? You know it's 8 and 9.
就是那哪一些支就能够等同于这些养料、水分、阳光呢？大家应该知道，就是第8支跟第9支。
they make the karmic seed ready to give a baby.
他们会能够让业力种子已经准备好要生产了，要生下这个宝宝了。
In terms of the death process,
那如果讲的是死亡的这个过程，
we can speak more specifically of the one seed which is going to be activated to shoot your next life.
那我们可以更加这个特定的指出，就是那一颗将会被触发，然后打开，决定你会投身到什么样的下一世的那颗种子。
And we talked about being very careful to make the hospital room comfortable and speak quietly and remind people of their good deeds.
那我们之前也提过，就是在人临终的时候，我们要让这个所在的医院要非常的舒服，然后让身边的人要很安静，然后呢，我们怎么样去非常柔和的提醒临终者他们曾经做过的好事。
So you can explain link 8 and link 9 in general terms of your whole life. You should do coffee meditation or you should regret the bad things you did.
那我们可以用两种方式来描述这个第8支跟第9支。一种总体的方式而言的话，第8支、第9支相当于你在一生当中都要为你的好种子做咖啡冥想，然后呢，你要为你的坏种子做忏悔等等。
Or you can think of 8 and 9 more specifically as the last moment of your general awareness of this lifetime before your mind shifts to like an animal mind.
那你也可以更加具体的来描述这第8、第9支，也就是在你临终时，你的意识跨越到下一世之前的那个时候，你的一个总体的觉知。
When I say at the last moment of your life, your general awareness of this world shifts to an animal state of mind, I don't mean you become an animal or you have an animal's mind. I don't mean that.
当我之前提到说，在你临终的时候，你对这个世界一个总体的觉知会转移成一种类似于动物那样的非常基础基本的觉知。我讲的不是说你在那个时候会变成一只动物等等，不是这个意思。
I mean your mind dies.
我的意思是你的意识会死去。
99% of your mind dies.
意思是你意识当中、心识当中99%的部分已经死去了。
And all that's left is we call nyuksem. Nyuksem.
所剩下的只是 Nuksen。
That means like primeval mind, the mind which you've had for billions of lifetimes.
那种是一种非常就是原始性的意识，是你已经拥有了超过10000年时间的意识。
And by the way, that's why it's very difficult to remember what happened in your past life.
这就是为什么，顺便一提，这就是为什么你很难想得起来你的前世发生了什么事情。
You can say 99% of your mind died during that last minute of awareness.
你甚至可以说，就是在你那临终时最后1分钟的时候，在你那样的觉知状态时，你的心识当中99%的部分都已经死去了。
So that seed in the garden gets its water and its fertilizer.
所以那个花园里面的种子呢，就得到水分、养料等等。
By link 10, the seed gets very fat.
到第10支的时候，这个种子就变得非常的胖。
Yangsi chime gewe pumbo penge suchepa, and it makes it certain that that seed is going to throw a new life.
就会让这颗种子确保能够给你投射出新的一生。
So therefore, link 8, 9, and 10,
因此第8、9、10支
these are, I like to call them factory links.
就是这3支，我喜欢把它称之为工厂这一
they are
组，
producing your new body and your new mind.
因为他们为你在创造一个新的身心。
By link 10, the new body and mind are almost ready for shipping.
到第10支的时候，那你的新的一个身心已经准备好，可以运输出来了。
So again, I showed an image here of link 8, 9, and 10. And by the way, the links are equal to the old clocks in like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 8, 9, and 10 are going to be where 8, 9, and 10 o'clock are.
然后在这里，我给大家准备的图片，大家可以看到，就是有一团蓝色的白雾，就是包含着8、9、10支的这个图片。顺便一提，就是这个12支跟我们的时钟的12刻 12点是一样的，就是所以说8、9、10支就是我们对应8点、9点、10点的位置。
So we finished the shooting links.
所以这个投射支我们已经讲完了，
And we finished the factory, which is getting your new body and mind ready.
然后这个工厂我们也讲完了，就是让你的身心准备好，新的身心准备好。
Now let's go back to the text.
那现在我们再回到原文当中，
Sabe ginyuku kepa shin kesi du ning tam jorwani. So let's go to the moment that the seed splits open and the sprout comes out.
我们现在去到那个种子裂开，然后芽长出来的那个时刻，
This is like the production that comes out of the factory.
这就像是工厂所做的生产，
And that's link number 11,
那就是第11支，
which is your rebirth.
那就是你的再一次的受生。
Now there's going to be another production link, but we'll come to it later.
那这里本应有另外一支这个生产支的，但是我们之后会再说。
So if the factory is the seed already wet and fertilized,
如果这个工厂啊，就是那些已经湿润了，然后浇了肥的种子，
then the production coming out of the factory, the first part of that production is your rebirth.
那从这个工厂当中做的生产的第一部分就是你的再次受生。
And in the image here, you see link number 11, and I've added 12.
那你在这里看到的图片就是第11支，然后我也把12支加上去了，
Because that's going to be another production, but it's going to, in the text, it's coming a little bit later.
那会是另外一个生产。那之后那个文中才会讲到这一点。
Kondu shepataki chenduki namshe ming suk chirik betendel keche rekpa sarwate tendel chetanga ni pabedebo. So what's the arrow that gets shot?
那个被射出去的箭又是什么呢？
Who's the shooter? Do you remember?
大家还记得吗？是谁射的箭？
Oh, it's I misunderstood my husband.
哦，是我误解了我的老公，
Then I yelled at my
然后
husband.
我骂了我的老公。
Then the first half of link number 3 in my mind is where the seed is planted.
然后是第3支的前一半，也就是说我的那个种子被种下的地方，
Now
那
what's
个
the
石。
arrow that gets shot?
那被射出去的箭是什么？
He listed here
他这里就列了出来，
the second half of your third link,
就是第3支的，
which is
另一半。
the mind entering the womb.
也就是说进胎的石，
Then the two guys in the boat, your mind and your body inside your mother's womb.
以及就是在船上的2个人，也就是说在你母胎当中的名与色身
And
心，
then your sense organs.
还有你的这个感官，
Then the contact of your mind with the outside world because of those organs.
然后因为你有这一些感官，你的意识跟外在的世界所产生的接触，
And then the feelings you have about that contact. That food is stinky, or that food smells good.
然后呢，你对这一些接触所产生的感受，譬如说那个食物很好闻，那种食物不好闻
Actually, it should be I like that smell or I don't like that
实际
smell.
上应该是说我喜欢这种味道，不喜欢那种味道。
So 4.5 of the links
所以这个4个半支
are the arrow which is thrown.
就是被投射出去的箭。
We call in Tibetan they're called result links which are thrown.
然后在藏文当中，这几支叫做被投射出去的果位支。
Okay, one more small piece here.
然后再讲一小部分。
Gashi chirik betendani. Now let's talk about link number 12.
那现在我们来讲讲第12支，
For $20.
20美金。
What's the technical name?
Death or maybe with
Yeah.
aging，
Yeah.
就是老
Oh, sorry.
we shouldn't 。
Death with maybe aging.
就是第12支的名字是死或老死支。
My banker's over there.
我的银
$20.
行家在那边。
$20 for your partner.
你
Okay.
的伴侣会拿到20块。
So now we're talking about 3. I'm sorry. I got distracted. Yeah, this link of death and maybe aging.
然后这一次就是死或老死支。
That's another. We promised you one more production link, right? The car that came out of the factory.
然后我们之前有跟大家讲过，会有保证会有另外一个生产的支，就是工厂出来的汽车。
So that whole experience of getting old and dying.
然后那一整一个就是衰老死亡的经历。
is a car which is produced in the factory of links 8, 9, and 10, which is the fat seed.
就是第8、9、10支这个工厂，也就是那个肥胖的种子所生产出来的产品。
Okay, that's the most boring class I gave you in this group, I think
然
so.
后我想这堂课是我给大家上的最无聊的一堂课。
And this is when my friends say, Gesla, can you teach something that we can really use?
这个时候呢，我的朋友就会说：“格西老师，你能不能教一些我们能够真的用到生活当中的东西？”
And I apologize that I don't always show you how to use it.
我抱歉呢，就是先说一声抱歉，因为我不是总是能够跟大家展示如何去运用这些知识。
There's not one word of Dharma that you cannot use.
在佛法当中，没有任何一个词是你不能去应用的。
And the older you get, the more you appreciate all the things that people have taught you, which I have many.
就是你的年纪越大的时候，你会越去感激那所有人们教你的东西，而且我有得到很多这样的教授。
But because in these last 2 days of classes,
但是因为在过去这2天的课堂里，
we talked about the sections of the wheel of life that kind of hang together.
我们讲到的就是在生命之轮当中那些某种程度是挂靠在一起的种种的部分。
We are now in a position to answer an important question.
那我们现在就到了一个重要的位置，以回答重要的问题。
How many lives are going on in one wheel?
就是这一圈这一个轮里面会经历多少事。
Okay, and if you want to know that,
如果你想要知道的话，
come back for session 18.
请再回到我们第18堂课。
Thank you, Stanley, for translating so happily.
谢谢 Stanley 这么开心的翻译。